As always, I'm late to the party, reviewing an album that came out almost a month ago. God, I'm so lazy. I'll never be internet famous cause I'm just a troll. Late to the party, rock your body, cause Limp Bizkit still sucks. Sorry for that, everybody. Josh Can here, Mr. Tardy to the party, talking about an album that's been out for a minute now, but I've let it simmer, I've let it digest, so I can give you the best review, and I can promise you that. Obviously, Limp Bizkit's been teasing this new album with the viral dad look that Fred Durst has been rocking recently at various live performances and on the cover art for their single Dad Vibes, which was a song that when I first heard, I was like, hell yeah, okay, Limp Bizkit's coming back. This song rocks. It doesn't sound like a typical Limp Bizkit song, but it does at the same time. So I was excited for the new album to come out, but I didn't set my expectations too high because all the bands that I grew up listening to when I was a teenager have had a tendency lately to disappoint me with their new releases. I did a whole video in 2019 of the 4 bands that I listened to growing up: Rammstein, Tool, Korn, and another one that escapes me right now. But anyway, so yeah, Limp Bizkit is coming in, one of the titans from the nu metal era, with their album Still Sucks. So obviously they're kind of leaning into the, you know, the self-awareness and of the hatred or the public mockery that they've faced for pretty much the last 15 years. So yeah, just gonna go through the songs here and then tell you my overall opinion at the end of the video. I love the drop date on this album. Just dropped Sunday, October 31st on Halloween. You know, back in the day, albums would always drop on Tuesday, and that was back when physical media was still a thing. It dropped on that day because the record label would have the entire weekend to ship out the physical product to all the record stores, and then the record stores would have a whole working day, Monday, to shelve the new album on the store shelves at the record stores. But now you can just drop an album whenever you feel like. You can drop it on Hanukkah if you want to, because everything's digital now. So yeah, anyway. So the album opens up with the song Out of Style, which I think is a great album opener. I love the opening riff. I love the little drill sound, synth stuff in the background that comes in. And then when Fred's vocals come in, I mean, the dude sounds exactly the same as he did 20 years ago. Like his voice is not aged at all, which is kind of amazing considering a lot of these guys, you know, that you're starting to see the diminished returns in their efforts with a lot of these bands, but not Fred, except for one thing that I will get to. I'll tease you on that one. So yeah, it was a very nostalgic thing to hear Fred come in and do his thing, and this song has that vintage late 90s nu metal sound with you know, all the swagger and machismo that people really liked back then. Kind of gone out of style now. People are more into the feelsy, emo boy, sad boy kind of being in your feels and wanting a hug kind of sound. People aren't really big on that Kid Rock, I'll kick your ass kind of stuff anymore. Mainstream speaking, of course. I live in a red state, or it's a purple state technically, but I live in the South, so we still love that shit out here. I mean, some of us do. Anyway, the next track, Dirty Rotten Biscuit, very heavy opening riff that pretty much drives the entire song. Pretty badass riff. There's a pretty decent vocal hook on the chorus. The bridge has that trademark creepy crawly guitar delay that Wes Borland is known for in his previous Limp Bizkit songs. And, you know, we just keep on rolling. I'm like, all right, this is vintage, like, good Limp Bizkit. Like, sweet. Then the track Dad Vibes kicked in. Now, I have loved this song from the word go. I couldn't believe that they would release this much of a banger like this late into their career. And I'm even more surprised that radio doesn't seem to be fucking with this song. I guess it's true that despite how good of music you are still putting out, if you're not
socially relevant anymore, you're just not going to get played. It reminds me of bands like Styx and all those bands from like the 80s and 70s that are still around, that are still releasing albums, and some that are still releasing great albums, and they're not getting shit for radio play because it's just like, well, that season has come and gone, and now we're on to the new thing, and then the new thing after that, and before you know it, it's like you're so irrelevant to the kids of today that it almost makes no contextual sense to play the music. Or at least that's what I think is going on. I don't know. I haven't heard this song on radio at all. If you've heard it, please let me know. But yeah, so Fred has this ironic swagger to him in this song lyrically, which fits perfectly because for most people, Limp Bizkit is kind of a joke band. They weren't when they first came out because, that was the season of the angry white boys tearing down Woodstock 99 and burning it on, setting it ablaze. And people were genuinely down for that macho swagger back then. But this song is almost doing a satire of that. Not to mention the flow in the verses and the catchy chorus. Hearing Fred Durst use the word drip in his lyrics is really funny because that's definitely a newer colloquialism that the kids are using in the rap songs now. Ric Flair drip go woo on a bitch, and to hear Fred Durst use that word is kind of funny. So he's obviously keeping up with what the kids are listening to and what the kids are saying. This song definitely set me up with high expectations for the album, and I'll let you know if those expectations were met at the end of this video. Track number 4, Turn It Up, Bitch. All these songs, I should say, probably in a marketing move, are very short, most clocking in at 2 minutes or less. Probably a good move for today's short attention span theater. Limp Bizkit songs used to be pretty fucking long, actually, and all these are pretty short. The album only clocks in at around like 32 or 34 minutes. So, there you go. But anyway, this song, it's a cool bass riff. It's like sounds like a stand-up bass, it's a do-do-do-do-do-do. And now we have Fred rapping, which he was kind of sort of doing in the songs before, but not nearly as much as he is on this song. And the irony of dad vibes seems to be disappearing on this song, unfortunately. I will say the raps aren't as cringy as they used to be. I've done a video on Limp Bizkit before for the 20-year anniversary of Significant Other. You can watch that video. Will I point to the card in the right direction? I don't know. You can watch it here. So if you want to see me do a retrospective on that album. But anyway, I've always said Fred Durst's lyrics and his raps were the number one thing that ruined Limp Bizkit and their songs. And he's dialed the cringiness down. But anytime he raps, that's when things start to go to shit a little bit for me. And so, yeah, it still feels like a vintage Limp Bizkit cut with a little bit less corniness, which is a good thing. Track 5, Don't Change. Did not know this until doing this review. This is a cover. This is a cover of an INXS song, which is a very interesting and random choice. I went back and I listened to the INXS song as I had never heard it before, and I really like it. I am adding this song to my playlist now, the INXS song. I like the INXS one better than the cover, but they're both good, so I'm glad I found out about that. This song is an acoustic number, which is pretty interesting for Limp Bizkit. It's not like they haven't ever done that before. Behind Blue Eyes. God, they played that song so much on the fucking radio back in the day. But Fred's singing is it's okay, you can hear the auto-tune clear as day, and he's not using the auto-tune like rappers use it, like the auto-crooning style where it's so over the top and obvious, like at the beginning of this video. No, he's not using it like that. He's using it in the way that Blink-182 are using it on their new albums, like their album California, where you can hear the notes just, it slides perfectly up to the right note and it slides back. You can hear the auto-tune, and it's just more of a matter of, we don't have the time to do a perfect take, so let's just get it as good as we can and just tune the fuck out of it. That's what a lot of bands are doing now to save time, I feel like, and save money in the studio. So that was a little annoying to my ears. So yeah, during the end of the song, there's some cool ambient guitar stuff going on by Wes Borland. Track 6, You Bring Out the Worst in Me. Great Sam Rivers bass work on this song. Wes is doing this pitch-shifted guitar stuff that sounds cool. The drums sound fat and beefy. Fred is doing this spacey-sounding vocals. And then finally, the thing that we were missing in the Limp Bizkit formula, he starts screaming. That trademark Fred Durst scream that was heard in so many classic songs, like their cover of George Michael's Faith, or Pollution, or anything off of Significant Other, or Boiler off of Chocolate Starfish. He's got a great scream. I've always thought Fred had a great scream, and that was the one thing that was missing from this album, and he's busting it out on this one for the chorus. And so I thought that sounded really cool. But here's the thing about screaming. If you don't do it correctly, because there is a technique to doing it correctly, it will actually destroy your voice over time, and you will lose the ability to do it. So even though he is screaming, it doesn't sound as raw and as brash as it did when he was younger. Me talking about his voice sounding very preserved, for this part, you can see how the screaming has worn on his vocal cords. How I can confirm this is I watched their Lollapalooza like 2020 or 2021 performance recently on YouTube, and they were going through all the old songs, and Fred just did not scream on a single one of them, which was sad. In fact, you could tell that they went out of their way to choose more singy Limp Bizkit songs, because anything that required a scream, he would either do a baby one, or he would hold the mic to the audience, or he just wouldn't scream at all. So that is a thing that happens to people. There are correct ways to do it that don't damage your voice, but I have a feeling Fred Durst did not go to vocal coaching, and he did it the wrong way, and subsequently probably fucked up his vocals. Song number 7, Love the Hate. This is more of a skit than an actual song. It's basically a dialogue between two people who are basically talking a bunch of shit about Limp Bizkit and Fred Durst, and Fred comes on in the chorus saying, "Joke's on you, you missed a clue. We don't give a fuck!" You know, treading old territory at this point. The charming thing about Dad Vibes was the fact that Fred was leaning into being uncool, and now he's almost like undoing all of that goodwill by basically writing a song saying, "Fuck you, you know, we care so little that we decided to make an entire song about how little we care." I don't understand how people, like, why people don't get the fact that by putting so much effort into doing something that shows people you don't care, it actually does the opposite. It's obviously you care very much, or you wouldn't be putting all this energy into it. So anyway, I don't really consider that an actual song. Moving on. Track number 8, Barnacle. This song has a more driving, traditional, almost alternative rock vibe to it, which is cool musically speaking. Fred is doing some kind of vocal affectation to make his voice tone sound different, which is all right. Sounds pretty cool. He brings his scream back for this track, which adds a layer of intensity and to the already driving groove. And he in one part of the song, he describes because the song's called Barnacle, and he's describing a starfish on your nose or something. And then I thought to myself, is he describing Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy? Is Fred Durst a fan of SpongeBob? Track number 9, Empty Hole. This is another acoustic number. It's pretty short and nondescript, but it's okay. Nothing too special, but it's not bad by any means. Number 10 is a song called Pill Popper. It opens with this vocal sample about the pharmaceutical industry being a for-profit organization. It's like, okay, we all know that is kind of a tired concept at this point in songs, you know, like I'm really going to stick it to the big pharma and all that. Like, that ground has been retread a lot. Moving forward, we'll see another song where he retreads old ground as well. But basically, I assumed after hearing that sample, the song was going to be about pill abuse, and I was correct. But the chorus hits pretty hard. There's a lot of filter effects used on the instruments at various points in this song, which give it a very bipolar feeling, which is actually pretty cool. Number 11 is a song called Snacky Poo. Yes, I can't believe that they named a song that, but he did. It opens with a ruffled chip bag sound and Fred eating a potato chip. This is more of a pure rap track, which has always been Fred's weak point, in my opinion, his rapping. So this is easily my least favorite song on the album. The song addresses the haters, the people's obsession with social media, and again, Fred trying to just flex. The whole, people are on their phones all the time. I'm not gonna sell my soul for a like and a Snacky Poo or whatever. And it's like, yes, okay, we all get it. The phenomenon of this generation of kids being obsessed with social media. It's not going anywhere. It's the natural evolution, apparently. Writing and complaining about it is just kind of, especially in this kind of direct of a way, is not very novel of a concept at this point in 2021. So the song ends at about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and then it goes into a skit, which the skit is attached to the song itself. I don't know why they would do that, because that means this song can never be put on anybody's auto playlist, because it's just gonna play 2 minutes of this dumb sketch of Fred Durst calling Wes Borland and asking him a bunch of questions, and Wes Borland just responding at every question going, yeah, uh-huh, yeah, uh-huh. I don't know. I literally don't know why he did it. I really wish people would detach skits from actual songs and just make it a separate skippable track, so I can just add that song to my playlist if I ever want to do that. And then the final song we have is a song called Goodbye. It's got a very 90s boy band sounding guitar strum pattern starting out the song, which is kind of hilarious. I felt like Justin Timberlake was going to jump on the track at any point. But then Fred comes in singing again, and it's okay. It sounds like Fred has been putting a lot of time into developing different singing techniques, because you can almost barely tell it's him singing on this track. When I was listening to this album a few weeks ago, I was out in a different room while this song was playing, and I almost thought that the album had ended and another artist and another album had automatically started playing, and I walked in and it was still Limp Bizkit, and I'm like, oh wow, that's crazy. So yeah, this song doesn't feel like it really fits the album, but it's pretty good overall. So just overalls on the lyrics, Fred has dialed down the corniness a great deal on this album. There are definitely still some moments that you have, you find yourself face palming, but those are less and less than the previous albums. So yeah, you would expect that a band that's been around for over 20 years would finally get to a point to where they're not writing, dum diddy dum, Miss Aguilera, come and get some. Thank God I didn't hear any kind of shit like that. So the guitars on the album were great. Wes Borland bringing his A game. You got to wonder how many of these riffs were saved or resurrected from some demo tape from the early 2000s, because they literally fit right in there so naturally, almost as a direct continuation coming off of Chocolate Starfish that was released in the year 2000. The drums, as far as the drums go, John Otto was a little bit less impressive on this album than he was with previous ones, but he's still a very solid rock drummer. I definitely didn't hear anything that stood out to me, like the beat from My Generation. Good God, that beat gave me such a rock hard boner when I was 13. I wanted to learn that beat so bad. The bass, Sam Rivers had some very tasty bass runs throughout the album, very consistent with his bass playing in Limp Bizkit, and it's always fun to listen to that. Then we have DJ Lethal with his synth work and his scratching and his samples. It's definitely the spice that sets Limp Bizkit apart from every other nu metal band from this time period. Although I felt like some of the samples were unnecessary, like some of the samples at the beginning of the songs. Again, it kind of fucks up your playlists if you have these weird samples that start out the song, and it's hard to transition from one song into another song if it's got some... Anyway, so my overall opinion about this album. This would have been my favorite album if it had come out in 2003 instead of their disappointing ass album Results May Vary. If this album had come out instead of Results May Vary, Limp Bizkit would have remained one of my favorite bands at that time. Results may vary suck so much ass, it just completely turned me off to Limp Bizkit as a whole. My point is, they nailed their sound really well on this album, and it would have felt like a fantastic next step after Chocolate Starfish. But they didn't release the album in 2003, they released it in 2021. A lot has changed both in my life, personally as a music listener, and in pop culture since the year 2000. And I just feel kind of in general still burned out on this new metal sound. It doesn't do anything for me anymore. It was fun to listen to a good new Limp Bizkit album, but for me it's more of a novelty than anything else because, I've heard all this music now for over 20 years. I mean, it's not just Limp Bizkit, it's Korn, it's all the other bands that are below those bands that also do this kind of stuff, and I'm over it. I'm over that sound, So my music tastes have evolved and I've moved on, and this gave me more of like a nostalgia kick than anything else, but that's not to say it's not good. It's good. In fact, it would have been a great 2003 record, but in 2021, it's bizarre. So I don't quite know where to file this away in my brain. I doubt I'll be going back to listen to this again. Because like I said, the angry, macho, nu metal stuff just isn't my thing anymore. But I don't know. What do you think? I'm pretty sure if you're a Limp Bizkit fan who's like stayed faithful to the cause, you're creaming in your pants over this album. Because for a Limp Bizkit album, it is really good. So let me know in the comments below. What did you think about this album? Did this reignite your love for Limp Bizkit? Did you think this album sucked? What do you think about Fred's whole dad vibe look that he's rocking now? I think it's a good thing because, dude, and this is coming. I know this is coming from someone who supposedly dresses like a shop at Hot Topic and blah blah blah, and what you have no room to talk. But I mean, come on, man. You can't be like, however old Fred Durst is, 50, however, I don't know, and still wearing the backwards hat and the baggy jeans and the, whatever t-shirt. So the fact that he's doing this almost Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas look is cool. I mean, yeah, he should be changing up his look because he can't be rocking the teenage thing anymore. That would be really creepy and uncomfortable to watch. So anyway, yeah, that's all I have to say about this. All I have to say 23 fucking minutes later. But yeah, make sure you like and subscribe. And remember, I have a separate Dancing with Ghosts music only channel. So if you only want to listen to my music and see my music videos, we recently just released a bloopers and outtakes clip of all of our music videos over on that channel exclusively. So a link to that will be in the description of this video. Thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your night. Oh, and you know what? I just wanted to say, Anthony Fantano, The Needle Drop, I was really looking forward to his review of this fucking album. And I know he had this thing when Gold Cobra came out in 2011 where for the whole review he just like ate his vegan lunch or whatever on camera. Motherfucker, as soon as this album, as soon as he dropped the review for this album, I clicked on the thumbnail. He's wearing his red flannel, which means he didn't like it, because he's, hipster Anthony Fantano, Mr. Woke fucking music critic over there. And, yeah, he's doing the same thing. 10 years later, he's just eating food and not reviewing the album. I thought that was a fucking cop-out. I thought that was lame. Anyway, that's an aside if you watch The Needle Drop, which I'm sure some of my watchers do. Anyway, bye.